We've all heard this famous quote.
Remember, 'tis better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Now that quote has been attributed to people like Mark Twain, Abraham Lincoln, and even to the author Maurice Switzer, who wrote the book Mother Goose, her book, in 1870. And one of the earliest variations, if not the variation, comes from Christianity in Proverbs 17:28, where it says, even a fool is considered wise if he keeps silent, and discerning when he holds his tongue. And we also find it here in law number 4, where it says, always say less than necessary. When you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear and the less in control. Even if you are saying something banal, it will seem original if you make it vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. Which brings us to, when it's come to the issue of reproductive rights, we've heard Donald Trump and the Republican Party and MAGA talk for years about how they want a total ban, a partial ban, or some kind of ban, some kind of control over women's body parts. Now, you may have your own personal opinion about whether or not a woman has the right to decide whether or not her and her doctor can say that she wants to do whatever she can with her body to either have or not have a child. That's your personal decision to make. I'm not talking about that. The issue here is politics. What decision are you going to make? Are you going to decide if a woman has a right to decide what to do with her body along with her doctor? Or are you, as the government, going to decide for her? And in Donald Trump's first campaign, we've heard him say things like this.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
We've heard Donald Trump go back and forth for years. And even when he put those Supreme Court justices on the bench and they removed Roe versus Wade, he was still back and forth. And he really would not shut up about it because he got a dilemma. It's either a great accomplishment or it's a great detriment. He can't decide which one, so he continues to talk about them. And because he continues to talk about them, reporters ask him more and more questions, which leads him to talk about it more. And Democrats are not going to stop talking about it because now they got you on an issue. And now he got a vice presidential candidate who said the same thing about Ohio and how he stuck to his guns on total bans.
This is what J.D. Vance wrote on social media. There is something sociopathic about a political movement that tells young women and men that it is liberating to murder their own children.
Instead of trying to take an easy road, which is also part of the 48 laws, you decided to stand down on one issue, which is also part of the 48 laws.
J.D. Vance has been very clear about being 100% pro-life. And above and beyond that, he wouldn't even vote to uphold IVF. He wouldn't even vote to make sure that IVF was legal.
So having that strong stance of J.D. Vance is contradictory to what now Donald Trump is saying.
I'm very strong on women's reproductive rights. The IVF, very strong. I mean, we're leaders in it.
And because of all that talking and not shutting up about the issue and trying to move forward, now they got a problem.
Julie, what do you think's happening here?
Oh, please, they're panicking.
Because the closer we get to the election, everybody want to nail the presidential candidates down to an issue or to an answer to an issue. And a lot of politicians are obeying law number 4 and not giving full definite answers.
What exactly is Donald Trump going to do to, quote unquote, help women's reproductive rights?
Yeah, I know. You need to ask him about that.
And you can't ask him because he's still flip-flopping. But what he's also doing is trying to throw it off on the states and say this is what they wanted.
And that's what they've wanted for years. For 52 years, they've wanted votes to be taken by the states, and they wanted Roe v. Wade to be brought into the states.
And a lot of conservatives in MAGA and GOP would agree. Let the states decide. You just got one tiny problem with that.
The problem with that position is it basically means he's responsible for Georgia's position or California's position or the near total abortion restriction in my home state of Texas. And he has to essentially defend all of those positions.
Yes, as the leader, as the head, if you give it down to subordinates, you are supporting their decisions. So whatever decision they make, when stuff go right or go wrong, it's going to be you that have to answer for it. And what does he do? He tries and change positions.
my administration will be great for women and their reproductive rights.
And someone who understands the law, Tony Perkins, who's head of the Family Research Council, had this to say about that post.
My advice is when you're in a hole, stop digging. This week made clear the DNC has the corner on the abortion market.
In other words, shut up. What do you think?